Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel, The Unplanned Life. Finally, here is one of the videos that I have promised to make, which is the video about the planning system that I will be bringing with me in 2021. If you have been on my channel long enough, you will know that the way I plan now is dramatically different from the way I used to plan during the years 2013 through 2018. And that's just because my life has changed just as dramatically. And that's really one major catalyst that makes us change our planning styles and planning systems and planning tools. Our planners should adjust to our needs. And for now, I have exactly what I need. Let me show you. Starting on the third week of November, I have been doing my planning in a bound A5 sized notebook. Not a bound planner, but a bound notebook. I made this notebook myself. This notebook contains 300 pages or 150 sheets, and it has a rule of approximately 5 millimeters, and the color of the rule is a light gray. The paper that I used for this notebook is called Elias paper, which is a Philippine-made paper that's made specifically for fountain pens, and you can purchase them from Everything Calligraphy. The link to their online store will be linked below. I hand stitched this notebook so that it will lie flat and will stay open. And that is important to me because I know that eventually, in a year or two, I will be scanning these pages into a set of high-resolution electronic image files and shred the physical notebook. I do that because I want to keep my material possessions to a minimum, and my archives have already piled up over the years. It took up an insane amount of space, and I could not guard them anymore, so I just converted them into a different format without losing information. I have a podcast about my minimalist life in my channel, and I will link it below. So that is the physical notebook that I am using, and I always have it in a Hobonichi cover and cover on cover. Currently, I have this notebook in this cover, which is called the Primavera Antique Handkerchief. And my next notebook, which I will be moving into on January 4, is in this cover called the Blue Gingham. I have a video of my Hobonichi covers collection, and I will link it down below. Now let us talk about the guts of the notebook, which comprises my entire planning system, and this is actually the topic of this video. Let's look at this new notebook that I am about to move into because it's fresh and new, and I haven't written any personal information on this yet, but I will also continue to show you some parts of my current notebook to illustrate some points that I am trying to show you. I call this my catch-all notebook because it literally has everything. And let me show you what I mean. I have sections on here that I always start on either one page or one spread. First, I have this spread called Download, which is actually just a brain dump, but I don't like that name. And the word Inbox is an alternative name for it, but it sounds too official. So I called this section Download instead because it's literally a place where I can download random thoughts from my mind onto paper. I usually just scribble down the information on sticky notes or random scrap paper and then paste them or tape them on here. And then later on, I filter them into either the to-do list or to the planner sections or to the other sections. The next section is my whereabouts log, which I started on March 15, 2020 in my previous notebooks, which was the day my country went into lockdown because of COVID-19. From that day on, March 15, I have always had this section in my notebooks because it's important for contact tracing anytime somebody reports themselves as having COVID. I put here not only where I went, but who I have interacted with during the day when I was out and who was with me at home. and who visited, and other such things. I have been able to make good practical use of this when I myself got COVID last September. I reported myself to the contact tracing team of our local government unit, and they asked me where I went for the previous 7 days, and I just pulled out my notebook, opened it to the quarantine whereabouts section, and gave the person all the information that she needed. And to this day, for as long as there is a pandemic, I will always maintain this log. The next section is the Jawide log, in which I just jot down what Jawide and I were up to for the day, or what he was up to for the day if I wasn't able to see him, sort of like a memory keeping thing, but without memorabilia or ephemera, just words. Next, I have my spread for the current month, followed by my weekly pages, which is a week on 4 pages. I have a video of how I set up these exact same pages on my channel, and I will link it down below. It's a plan with me video, so I also have an explanation there on how I plan. The next section is my medication tracker because I'm being treated for a thyroid problem, a psychiatric condition, and asthenia. The asthenia is a long-term effect of COVID. My COVID wasn't actually too bad. I didn't have the worst symptoms, and I was only placed on home quarantine as decided upon by the health office of our local government. But now there are medical studies that show that those that have had COVID but with mild symptoms are the ones that suffer the longest after they recover from COVID. After they test negative, they still suffer from certain illnesses. It's called the long tail of COVID recovery. I will link an article down below. I got the fatigue, and I also have a fatty liver, quite strangely, and that's what I am being treated for, and that is all on here. I have some videos about setting up my medication trackers, and I will link them down below. The next section is cash flow. That is self-explanatory, and by the way, if you see these lines, they are columns for the day and the day of the week. My next section is for YouTube ideas for my channel and some YouTube ideas for Joe Wide's channel because sometimes I help him out. His channel will be linked down below as well, so you can subscribe if you are interested. Next, I have this one entire spread for my master to-do list. I put on here items and tasks that I don't know yet when I can do them, but I have to list them down before I forget all about them. Items sometimes get migrated into here from the download section. Next, I have one spread for quotes, just some quotes that strike me from movies or videos that I watch or books that I have read or podcasts and audiobooks that I listen to. Nothing fancy, just quotes that I like and that strike me. And then I have a food log, and these columns on here are for the day, the date, the day of the week, and the time that I ate. Next is the sleep log, and on these spreads are the tables for health tracking and for tracking my cycle. For the health tracker on the left page, I have my weight because I need to lose about 10 more pounds, my blood pressure because it sometimes fluctuates but not so much anymore lately. I also have my blood oxygen levels on here, heart rate, and just boxes to put a yes or no depending on the case. Do I have anxiety? Do I have aches? Do I have a cough or cold? Do I have difficulty of breathing? Things like that while we still have the coronavirus with us. Here is also where I log other meds I take for aches or colds or if my temperature is high, just in case. And note that it has a column for the time as well. My cycle tracker is for my period, for when I take the pill or when I take a break from the pill, my menstrual cramps, and other female conditions and situations. Next, I have the logs for skincare. The face and body are on separate pages. I log here what skincare I put on, everything I do to my skin practically, because not every day is the same, and I want to remember when I last put on a sheet mask, for instance, so I won't overdo it and waste sheet masks. And the reverse also applies. I also want to see if I have gone too long without a sheet mask, so I can do a sheet mask day already. The hair log follows the same principle, but for hair, like when I washed my hair, when I put on treatment, and such things. And here in this page, I will be writing down the pens and pencils in use because I use a few different fountain pens and they have different inks. And sometimes when I use up the ink in a pen, I load the pen with a different ink, so I always make sure to log that. It's helpful for me when I look back at a journal entry and see an ink that I like and I forget the name of the ink, so I just go back to this page and compare the writing on that with the inks that I have written with on this page, and I can get to know what pen it's on so I can get that pen and write with it. Next, I have a page for notes. These are the more permanent information. Sometimes I can fill out an entire page just from consulting with Jawad's doctor, who is, by the way, also my doctor. I take down notes for him because he forgets. Sometimes one entire notes page gets filled up with notes from a Zoom meeting I have with a group in which we talk about specific topics. And then I have this page which will contain my task list for my decluttering and minimizing project, which is ongoing. And here is a log for my car's mileage. Pilita is the name of my car. I have always had a log for car mileage even before I moved into the bound notebook. It's just helpful for tracking usage and maintenance. And here is a page where I log my YouTube stats, specifically the lifetime stats daily. I know I already can access that anytime on the YouTube Studio app on my phone, but it helps to have something on paper that I can flip to from time to time and see my channel figures literally grow. Next, I have my page that lists my pending notebook orders, and then here is a page where I write down my ideas for my podcast, which I have started just this October. I have only 2 episodes up for now, but you can listen to them for free. I will link the playlist down below, and I will have a new episode up for this month. I also have this page for my media log. I list down here every single thing I watch or read or listen to. I started this because I forget. For instance, on Netflix alone, I start watching a movie and then it starts becoming familiar, and then I realize I have already seen it. And by the time I realize and confirm that I've already watched it, I have already seen 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, and that's kind of a waste of time. Listing them down after I have watched them helps me remember them for a few weeks, and then when I come across a movie title that I want to watch but sounds familiar, I just go through my old media logs and see if I have already seen it or not. It's very helpful. And here I have a page for my emotions tracker with context and space for me to think through them. It started out like this. I have all of these emotions listed, but without context and without working them through with myself through writing, it's not very helpful. This looks pretty, but it isn't helpful. This one will be helpful. I know it. Next, here is my tracker for daily habits and routines. On the facing page, I have my morning and bedtime routines in list form. I also want to be able to track them and check them off as I do them because it gives me a sense of satisfaction. And note that the morning routine columns has the same color as the washi tape on the routines list here, and so are the tasks under the bedtime routine. Lime green for morning and blue for bedtime. And here is a small space in case I think of something that can improve my routines. Next, I have a list of things to journal about. Some items arrive into this list from the download section because sometimes I get a random thought or idea that I want to explore by journaling about it. This is where it goes. Then another page for the notebook orders, which is a continuation of the previous page for notebook orders. Now, all of these sections are easy for me to find and go to because of the tabs. I make these tabs also out of Elias paper, the same paper that I used for the pages of the notebook. I use a black Faber-Castell marker to write down the shortened name of the section on the tab and the number 1. When I have already filled out that page, I continue the section onto the next fresh page, the next page that is available on the notebook, and put a tab on there with the same name, but with the number 2, as you can see here on the notebook section. Here's the number 2 right here. That indicates to me that that is a continuation of a previous page. And when a page or a section is already completely filled out, I gray them out. I use this Zig Clean Color Real Brush Pen in the gray-brown color. I have a bunch of these that I used to use for my hyperdeck years ago, and I held on to them. And now I just use this gray one to literally gray out the tabs of the sections that are already completely filled out, so I'll know that I can just skip them for the most part. This is one benefit that I have gained when switching to the paper tabs. Before I was on the paper tabs, I was on these plastic see-through neon colored sticky notes, but these paper tabs look much cleaner, and I can also shade them or grade them out as needed. Now all the rest of the pages on this notebook will contain my journal pages. I do my morning pages here, I write down my dreams here, and I also do my bedtime journaling here, and I sometimes also journal during random times of the day when I need to clear my head or work through an idea in my mind, and they go into this notebook as well. I also do memory keeping, and sometimes I place stuff in Ziploc bags and paste them onto the journal pages. And part of my journal pages are these gratitude boxes, which I only recently started to do again. I have an explanation video for this on my channel, which I will link in the description box. And as I go along, journaling, tracking, filling in my logs, I simply keep starting new pages to continue the sections that I have already started here. That's why on my current notebook, you can see here that some tabs are labeled with the number 2 and 3 and 4. Because those are continuation pages of previous sections and everything is tabbed appropriately, it's easy for me to see what the contents are of any given catch-all notebook. Finally, I also have this little booklet, which is A5, but I slightly slimmed it down so it can fit into the back of this notebook cover. And it is my 2021 reference booklet. In here, I have the lists that are going to be used for the entire year. I got this idea from Planning Annie on YouTube, and I will link the exact video from her channel down below. I decided to copy her idea because, judging from the rate of my usage of these notebooks, I get to fill out one notebook completely in 5 to 6 weeks. And I can't keep rewriting these things into my notebook every 5 to 6 weeks because these tasks, these running lists, will run for the entire year. What is here are my words of the year, which are focus and achieve. I chose 2 because why not? If Pantone can have 2 colors of the year sometimes, I can also have 2 words of the year. And then I have my goals for the entire year, which I will keep secret from now. I certainly cannot keep rewriting them in every notebook. So I just put them on here. I also have my wish list on here and my books to read or reread or buy, my tasks for my thesis, my ideas for the short story collection that I'm working on, which will be my 4th book or my 5th, depending on whether I finish my thesis first, in which case the thesis will be the 4th book and this book will be the 5th. I honestly hope I finish my thesis first before this one because my thesis is a major goal for this year, but this new short story collection can wait. It's not a goal for 2021, so this list will be on here for the foreseeable future beyond 2021. So there's no point in keeping this list on the main notebook because I will just have to keep writing them when I move to a new notebook, which will be every 5 to 6 weeks, like I mentioned. And then I have the various info, um, which is largely perpetual, like passwords, annual due dates, and such. I also have my vision board on here, which are directly linked to my goals, and I will also keep that secret for now. It just makes perfect sense to me to have them in a separate reference booklet, which is part of my current planning system now. Thanks so much to Planning Annie for coming up with this idea and for sharing it on her YouTube channel. Please check out her video. Other things that are on here are this page keeper that I will use to mark my vision board, so it will be easy for me to flip to it several times a day when I need extra motivation. In the front pockets of the Hobonichi notebook cover, I have sticky notes, a sample card of black washi tape, which I use to mark the tasks in my weekly pages that require me to go out of the house. I also have a short ruler and a protractor, and I also have my old business cards that I have to throw out because I have already changed my phone number. And I also keep some slips of paper on here for notes. And here is the envelope that holds my gratitude boxes ready for use every single day. And here I have some small Ziploc bags for memory keeping. And on the pen loops, I have a mechanical pencil. My favorite is the Pilot Up Shaker mechanical pencil, which contains 4B lead, which is much softer and thus writes darker and is easier on my writing hand. And I also have the Uni Auto Eraser pencil. I have a video of these two on my channel, and I will link it down below. And that is it. That is the planning system that I will be bringing with me into 2021. It is a catch-all. It might look strange because I have not come across anyone else on YouTube that plans in a similar way. Everyone else is either on rings or strings or discs, and everyone is either a minimalist planner or a decorative planner, and many use the bullet journal system in a bound book, and a lot of people use the Hobonichis, but I don't bullet journal and I don't use the Hobonichis. I guess I am an outlier when it comes to planning style. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, strange as it might look, because like I said, no one else plans like this. But if you do and I haven't found your channel yet, please let me know. I'd be happy to get to know you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.